Thank you, Heidi. Thank you, Brady, and thank you everyone for this opportunity to chat and share some thoughts. And I look forward to hearing from some of the other panelists in the discussion through the time that we have together. Opportunities and challenges, Heidi, I think you were right on it. Some that were pre-COVID or pre-pandemic before the middle of March of last year, some that are going on as a result. And I think when we look at some of the opportunities, there have been silver linings if you look for them in some of these tremendously challenging times. I'm going to focus on opportunities. We all know that it's been a challenging time for the sector, pretty much for every sector and all communities of all sizes and shapes. So I'm going to try and focus more on some of the opportunities that have come up over the last little while. By way of introduction, I'm going to refer to some things that predate myself. And the reason I say that is I am the CEO of the Community Foundation of Nova Scotia, as Heidi said. I joined just about a year ago, the middle of June of last year. So the pandemic was in its full throes already by that point in time. And some of the work that the Community Foundation had engaged in or has engaged in around some of these opportunities as a result of changing approaches and opportunities had already started. So I'm going to refer to some of those and just ask that you know that I'm referring to stuff that I wasn't actually a part of. I'm thrilled and honored to be a leader of the organization that was a part of it, but I wasn't involved in the organization at the time. I'm looking down towards the bottom of my screen. I know Emma's there. If we get any tricky questions about things that happened before me, I know Emma can come in and pitch hit for me. So what I will do is I'm going to look at three different stories or ideas, three different ways in which we've seen opportunities develop for the sector in terms of philanthropy, in terms of community foundations, and in terms of working across the not-for-profit and charitable space. They all have a theme. It's around collaboration and partnership, and it's around viewing things with a lens of abundance as opposed to scarcity. And I think our sector is known historically for, this is my territory, this is my donor, this is my relationship, or to work with a funder and say, we'd like you to come and do this with us, but over there might be something else. And before the pandemic, our organization had already started looking at things from a collaboration and partnering standpoint. And here are some examples of things that happened as a result and have continued. I'm going to refer first to the Nova Scotia Nonprofit COVID-19 Coalition. So that's a big mouthful. I'm not going to go into great details about it, but the coalition, as we endear it to be called now, was started within days, a couple of weeks or less of the lockdown in March of last year. And it involves representatives from a variety of different organizations across the sector, Black Business Initiative, Recreation, Sport Nova Scotia, iSands, Social Enterprise, United Way, Community Sector Council, and ourselves, amongst others. And really what that was is in response to work that was already being done in the private sector. No surprise, the chambers of commerce across the province said, let's work together, let's address our members, and let's start to try and help them through what will be a challenging time. This was a response to that. There was no money in it. There was no benefit. It was a time, dedication, resources, lots of work, and lots of collaboration for not an immediate, necessarily benefit, but it was an opportunity for partnership and for doing more for the sector. 22 open forums, some of you may have participated in some or more than a few, were hosted between March and December, January of this year. Over 1,500 participants. I think the largest single was north of 250 participants. And they ranged in topics from early on, what is PPE and how do we get some? How do we open and close or close and then potentially reopen an office? Fundraising, mental health, caring for volunteers, all those kinds of things. So there's just an example of something that was done. It was work. It was across multiple actors and players, and it was not about specifically philanthropy, but part of what it did was enable greater philanthropy and partnership across the sector. My second example, a few of you on this Zoom today are familiar with the federal initiative from the federal government partnered with the Community Foundations of Canada called the Healthy Communities Initiative, or HCI. An idea came to be literally in the final hours and moments of December of 2020 and was launched in earnest in January. And they decided to break the country down into 22 hubs. I'm not going to get into how that happened or what the breakdown was, but let's just agree that 22 is not a number as Canadians that we're very familiar with when we're looking at breaking down the country and jurisdictions. The Atlantic Canadian hub was one. So 4 provinces, either side of 2 million, depending on how you're measuring our population. Multiple linguistics, 2 exactly. So 2 point something, just under 2. There you go. Brady's saying 2. So that's why I'm never quite sure what our exact number is, but we're close.
2 minutes left, Daniel, not
2 minutes. I got to hurry up. Okay, 2 minutes, not 2 million. We worked with 6 community foundations as participant partners to come up with, and Brady helped us on this, how to approach it, how to break down a fund allocation of 31 million, of which 1.5 was allocated to Atlantic Canada across 4 provinces. A linguistic group, Ulnuig First Nations, participated. And this initiative was to reach those most acutely affected by the COVID, by the pandemic, and those would have been racialized organizations and those most affected. So this was an example, again, of partnership to enable philanthropy. And it's an example of what I think we're going to see more of going forward, which the CEO of CFC calls place-based philanthropy. So it's a program, it comes in and it works at a local level, and we end up partnering with others in a way that enables that distribution and disbursement to happen as equitably and with partnership as possible. The final one would be partnerships across corporate areas, community, and with funders, and it's to find new ways of enabling philanthropy. The corporate example, we could have a lot more information shared. Emma works very hard on this with Green Shield Canada. We were one of 6 early pilots. They've expanded that to 9 and now to 12, where they partner with the community foundation to reach their goals, as opposed to being the on-the-grounds decision maker. They use local foundations and partners to achieve their goals in oral and mental health. We work with communities right across the province as well at a community level to identify their needs. And then the final one would be an example of working with a large funder donor to come up with a brand new initiative that we're going to pilot, I hope in the beginning of 2022 on a new social enterprise. So those are partnerships and collaboration.